Sunday, August 4th, 2020. I've got the day off, so I headed to the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum for a ride on the local. 4501 has been the main power used on the weekends all this year due to 630 being down for her 5-year inspection. The local hadn't been in the station long when here came NS's Tyner Terminal Local with a pair of SD40-2s pulling a train of mostly empty auto racks bound for the Volkswagen plant. As we watched this, 4501 cut off from the train and began to turn on the Y. The people at the pedestrian crossing in front of the depot were taking a large risk to view the locomotive. One lady seemingly just holding onto the rail, perhaps to feel the vibrations as the engine came closer.
Get out of the way, woman. Good grief.
Fortunately, the 01 was scheduled to stop short of the crossing for photographs, and all stood clear at last. Even in slow-speed situations like this, I must admit it makes me very nervous when people just won't move out of the way of an oncoming train. Eventually, 4501 coupled back up to the front of the train and prepared for the departure of the 1:30 p.m. trip. Let's skip ahead of this and go to East Chattanooga. Upon arrival at the East Chattanooga yard, the engine is cut off from the train for the turntable demonstration.
At that time, it was sold to the consumption of the Tennessee Valley. It was beginning with retired from that railroad, purchased by one of our co-founders here at Museum, Paul Merriman, for $5,000.
Our tour guide, Zach Langley, giving details of the operation of the table and about the 4501 itself as it moves into place.
This locomotive is a 282 Mikado, meaning it has two small power wheels in the front, and 8 large driving wheels in the middle, and a set of 2 small wheels under the side of the firebox. This is the first 282 ever purchased by the Southern Railway, purchased over the Venture purchase. Ironically enough, it is the only Southern Railway 282 that survives today. This is the first piece of equipment acquired by our museum as well, and to this day it is still the most famous piece of equipment we have in the collection. Now, as you can see, while the wheelbase of this locomotive does fit on the turntable, the locomotive itself does extend off the turntable off both ends by just a few feet. So if you're at that yellow line, I do need you to take an extra step or two back so the front coupler does not come and give you a slap on the way around. Alright, if you have a look in the tab up there, you'll see our engineer Andrew. He is responsible for operating this locomotive. He's going to get us here and back safely today. So everyone go ahead and give him a wave. Now the way this locomotive operates is up in the cab there. Our fireman Ricky is feeding 3 to 6 tons of coal a day into the firebox where it is burning. On the front side of the firebox there are a series of tubes that run the length of the boiler. Those are called the flues. The hot gases from the fire travel through the flues and then up and out the stack.
While the engine was being turned, I couldn't help but notice 5000 sitting nearby. 5000 is the very first GP38-2 that was built for the Southern Railway, just like 4501 was the first 282 Mikado built for that road, and now is the last one left in existence. Also, most people contribute to the steam locomotive require 2 crew members on each of the motor run. And then fuel as well. Fuel on the steam locomotive is much more expensive. There's a common misconception on one reason, and that was power. Power is actually not one of the reasons why steam locomotives were safe. To give you an example, this is a 1911 built locomotive, like I said, with about 2,500 horsepower. These are locomotives now reach the 2,500 horsepower, 2,500 horsepower, 68. Now, if you look up in the cab again, you'll see our fireman Ricky. She is responsible for feeding that fire as well as maintaining the water level in the boiler to produce steam this engine operates on. Without her, we wouldn't be going anywhere, so give her a wave as well. I love 99 film my favorite style song, Jake Gyllenhaal. Those of you who know the scene on film maybe call a scene where the kids are ripping up tracks and they thought it was a game and to get the scrap money out of it to fund our rocket talking to the science fair. But the train comes along and they can't. Well, the locomotive in that scene most people and not just this locomotive, our other entire property here is used for production very often as well. Just in the past 15 years or so, we've been involved in the production of Leatherhead, 40, Western Elephant, Sitting nearby were some of the museum's recent projects. Number 630 was finally out of the shop after completing her 5-year inspection and had just received a new coat of paint. So new, in fact, that her pop-off valves were still covered up with plastic and her whistle had not been put back into place yet. Also, the locomotive's roof has been painted red, which reminds me of when it was running on excursion trains for the Southern Railway in the 60s and 70s. Also getting some attention is the little GE 25-tonner. Even her 6-cylinder engine has been painted. It looks really nice compared to the yellow it's sat in for years now, and I look forward to seeing what it'll look like when the work is done. On the way back to Grand Junction, we pass Allied Metals, one of TVRM's freight customers, and where some of their equipment is stored. It's also the site of one of the museum's projects as well, a new storage track which comes off the lead to the metal plant. This track could be used to store cars and equipment currently in the siding at McCarty, which would allow for the operation of 2 Missionary Ridge locals. The siding could be used for meets and passing of trains in the future, but nothing is set in stone at this point, and that's only an educated guess. We arrived back at Grand Junction a little after 2:30 p.m. We detrained and I set up to watch 4501 come to the crossing in front of the depot. It's always fun to come out here, and 4501 and her crew put on a great show as always. At the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum in Chattanooga, Tennessee, this is Ravenhawk 6910, signing off.